Hey, so good afternoon. This week's portion, Parshas Mishpatim, I wanted to focus a little bit on all the interactions between the portion and our tractate, which we're studying in the Daf Yomi, because so many of them, there's so many overlapping themes, and many of the verses in our portion are really interpreted by Rashi just to reflect the Talmudic interpretation that we've been studying for the last 3 months in our Daf Yomi in Baba Kama, in civil law, tort law. But before we get into that, I just thought there was such a beautiful teaching from today's Daf Yomi. I wanted to share it with you and see what your thinking about it was. So the Talmud tells us, today's Daf Yomi, which is 97 or 97b, at the bottom of the page, the Talmud tells us the matbeya, the coin of Abraham, matbeya shel Avram Avinu, the coin of Abraham was zakein uskena mitzad echad, ubachur b'tua mitzad acher. That on one side was written old man and old woman. Possibly it was a depiction, but the Rashi says it means that it was written an older man, older woman. And on the other side was a young man and a young woman. Rashi says so most understand this to mean that this was Abraham and Sarah when they were old, and Abraham and Sarah when they were younger. But another interpretation is that the older man and older woman were Abraham and Sarah, and the younger man and younger woman were Isaac and Rebekah. Anyway, that's the teaching from today's Daf Yomi. So I wanted to see what you thought about that. Hold on, I'm going to pause this. So here are two explanations that I saw. One is from the Oel Avram, and he writes as follows: Abraham illuminated through the light of his faith to the people of his generation, and his desire and the goal of his life was to do good for his generation. And he was somebody who loved peace, and so therefore he knew how to speak softly with every person. As we know, the idea divrei chachamim benachas nishmaim. The words of the sages are heard if you speak softly, positive reinforcement, trying to really set a tone of reconciliation. However, sometimes there is a need to put these are his words, but to put the sword on one side, so to speak, and to wage a battle against wicked people who are doing things that are wrong. And you need both. You need the fire and you need the love. And so therefore, this is the concept between Abraham's coin. Abraham's coin, on the one hand, had the picture of the older man, older woman. That represented the people who are speaking in a peaceful manner, people who are conciliatory. And then on the other hand, you have the youth, which represents the fire, and that they're fighting against those people who hate justice and hate truth. And so we need both. And that's one concept that's taught by the Oel Avram. Another explanation I saw was in the Imre Yehuda, and he says, quotes the Midrash, it says that this coin was established by Jacob. That the coin of Abraham was not the coin that Abraham made, but it was a coin that Jacob established. meaning to say, what was the thing? That on one hand, Abraham represented the need for truth and wisdom. And on the other hand, he represented the idea of love, that these represent different aspects of Abraham's life. The concept of wisdom and the concept of, let's say, conquering or going out into the world. And there's a third approach that I saw, which is the idea that it reflects the nature of the love between a husband and wife, that the love ideally should be a love that carries one from youth, from the love when they're young and their bodies look a certain way, to the love when they're old and their bodies look a different way. And the proper perspective in life is to always appreciate that we have the two sides to the coin. And this perspective will give us this. If we understand this concept of the two sides to the coin, this will give us perspective on life. Okay, so that's the concept behind the coin of Abraham. So let me just go from here. Hold on, let me just 1 second.